is Sam, aka Dracona, and today we're going to be doing something a little different. So normally I do artwork, but lately I've been feeling a lot more adventurous and wanting to do something a little different. So we're actually going to be going into Planet Zoo, and we're going to build a little zoo. Now, I was, hemming and hawing about doing like a sandbox or one of the challenges, but I decided to go with the franchise zoo. Now, I've done a lot of franchise zoos before, as you can see here, but for us, I think we're going to make a new one. So let's go ahead and make a new zoo. And I think grassland would be a lot of fun. There's a lot of animals available in grassland, and I don't know, do we want to go Australia? Like, Oceania is like Australia, but we could also go with like North America or South America or Europe. I wonder, what's an area that I haven't like done before? Ooh, right here there is an Asian like grassland option. And we're gonna go ahead and go on easy because we're just doing this for fun, you know? And it's a grassland. So what should we call this? I think Asian Adventures? That sounds nice. Let's go with that. Alright, so now we're just gonna wait for the thing to load up. Alright, so the first thing I do always is pause it, because it makes it just so much easier. Oh, we've got a cute little thing. Let's take a look inside. Oh, look at that. This is so cute. I like that little mural. Alright, so I played a lot of Planet Zoo. And part of, playing a lot of Planet Zoo, especially franchise zoo, is always starting out really simple and easy. Now, what I like to do is I like to designate like little areas for the staff, but you have to be careful because that can go a little hard. And we also have to like decide what our theme is going to be. So let's go ahead and look at our staff facilities. And there's lots of cool themes here. We have the Arctic Center, but we have a couple of Asian options. So let's check those out. So we have East Asia right there, and these are really cool. I like the East Asian huts. The one thing is once you start like building in one style, you have to kind of keep in that style because otherwise it looks a little silly. Oh, that's cool though. But I digress. I think East Asia is going to work out well for us. I think that's going to look really nice. Okay, so we should also pick a really nice like Asian pattern. The hexagon? Ooh, the hexagons look quite nice. I'm going to go ahead and go that. I always like to go into the turnstiles to make it look really cohesive. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and align it to a grid, and I'm going to go ahead and make a nice little T shape here, because that gives me a nice building foundation to go from. Now we need to make sure we have a staff option, so I'm going to go ahead and actually take one of these paths, go down, and make this a staff only path. And I'm going to go ahead and align to grid, and I'm going to build off this way a little bit. So we have to make sure that the staff have a couple of different buildings. We're going to go ahead and pull these trees that are already here and put them a little closer to the entrance of the path, just to kind of, disguise it. Like the what's it called? The guests aren't going to be able to see it from the entrance, but I still think it's a nice little bit of storytelling, to put these trees here, because, if you step through the trees, it's where the staff goes. And you don't want to go where the staff goes, you want to go where all the animals are. So we've gone ahead and put out some of these trees here to make just kind of like a little shaded area. Now we're going to go back into facilities, and we're going to go ahead. For the time being, we only need like a small keeper hut because, well, the staff aren't going to be taking care of any habitat animals. I'll get to that in a minute. So we're going to go ahead and get ourselves like a small keeper hut right here and put that right up against the path. Now, I might splurge out and get a bigger quarantine because the quarantine becomes really handy, but then again, I can just put another larger quarantine in a different spot in the zoo, so I think I'm actually going to go for the small one for the time being, because we're not even going to need it right away, but it's important to have for when you do need it, And it just makes it easier to remember. So we have our keeper hut and our quarantine. Now, the research center is interesting because I have done a lot of research. I have been playing a lot of Planet Zoo, and in franchise, all of your research carries over. So I actually don't need a huge research building. because I already have a bunch of research done in this franchise. So I'm going to go ahead just with a small one, but I am going to splurge out on a large staff room. Now, the thing about staff rooms is the employees need them to relax and unwind, and they always fill up so fast. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to splurge out and give them a large one. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go in here and I'm going to give them a perk. Now, perks are there to just, make things easier on your staff, but for the first one and for most of them, I'm actually going to go with staff healthcare. It's only $100 extra per year, and it makes my staff much more resilient to being overworked, which means they take less breaks and generally are a lot happier. And I think that's good. I think that's good for the health of the zoo, and it also means that staff morale is going to be really high. Now, the last things we need are the veterinary surgery, which is another large building, so I'm going to go ahead and put that right next to the rec room right here. Go ahead and put that there. And this is for in case an animal happens to get sick or injured. And then they need a trade center, which is where we get all of our animals. And we're going to go ahead and put that right here at the end. And we need a workshop, which is where all of our, all of our mechanics do their research. Now, the mechanic research is actually a lot further along than most of the vet research, because vet research is basically gated by what animals you have. You can't just, randomly be researching Sumatran tigers when you don't have any. Oh, what's going on here with the path? That's not cool. So now we have this little, staff oasis taken care of, and later on I'm actually going to put some decorative walls around the outside, just to kind of make the whole thing look nice and unified, But for the time being, we're actually going to move on from there, and we're going to go over here, and we're going to get ourselves not a habitat, but an exhibit. We're actually going to get ourselves a couple. I'm going to get this two animal exhibit right here, and go ahead and put those butt those up right there. And these only have one side where they can be shown. And I'm actually going to go ahead and grab a secondary one as well, just to kind of put on this little corner right here. Put that right there. Now, they don't generally need paths leading directly to them, but it does look nicer. However, on this one, I think, oh dear, I have screwed this up somehow. So guests can actually walk up to and interact with this like that. Which I found out recently, which is really handy. So next, we need to go ahead and put down just a few more things, specifically one more thing. We're actually going to go over here now into guest facilities, go to finances, and get donation boxes. Donation boxes are really handy because that allows guests to put in donations at exhibits they really enjoy. And I typically put them pretty close by to specific exhibits, and I'm hoping they're really going to like these. So I'm going to go ahead and put a donation box. I wish it would align nicely, but we're going to go ahead and... Actually, what we could do is we could put one here and then duplicate this and put that right here. Yeah, I like that. It's one more than I normally put out, but it's not going to, affect anything. So now the last thing we need to do is hire some staff and also get some animals. So we're going to go ahead and start with our staff. We are going to grab one caretaker. We're going to grab one keeper and a mechanic and a vet. At the time being, we don't really need anything else, and we don't need to double up on anyone because no one job is going to be too busy. We only have the small amount of pathway. I'm sorry, I keep just disappearing into those trees. I'm trying not to, I really am. But the camera is a wild beast in this game. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get ourselves some animals. Now, what I like to do when I first starting out a zoo is I actually like to look and see first for animals that are highly rated and are more appealing, because then guests will be more likely to come into the zoo. And the other thing I like to do is I actually like to check over here in this section and look for animals who are long-lived. I don't typically breed the exhibit animals just because they can tend to overtake their exhibits like that, and then it becomes kind of an unfun micromanaging situation. So we're going to go ahead and get this eastern brown snake. What's your name? Galang. Hello, Galang. Go ahead and adopt you. And then let's go ahead and look at some of these other ones to find something with a long life. Ooh, it's not looking so good. Ooh, look at you. Zochikoten? Zoshikozen? Zoshikozen, I think. I might have to change your name to something I can pronounce. Oh, I could have gotten a Colin. Oh well. Let's go ahead and keep going down. Ooh, this Western Diamondback, and we have an Eastern Brown and a Green Iguana, so you are my friend. What's your name? Tanner? Alright, so let's go ahead and place Tanner. We'll go ahead and put Tanner right here by the door. So now we place Tanner. And let's go Galang. Hello, Galang. And we'll put the snakes right next to one another. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go back into their exhibits and do some tweaking here in a second. Oh, that's horrifying. There's just bodies floating. We all float down here. I'm sorry. No, I will leave now. Okay, and the last place we're going to do is we're going to put our green iguana here in this exhibit. So now what we're going to do, we're going to close out the training, and we're actually going to go into each individual exhibit and take care of a couple things. Firstly, we're going to name them after the animal that's in them so we know, and then we're going to go over here into layout. And in order to provide enrichment, you have to turn at least a couple of these on, but it doesn't harm them to have them all on, and I think it makes for really interesting exhibits. It also increases the number of behaviors you can actually catch the animals doing. So I would just like to turn a lot of them on. The other thing, we have to make sure the temperature and humidity are in the safe range for the animal. So the Western Diamondback rattlesnake needs to be in a temperature between 24 Celsius and 30 Celsius, so we're going to go ahead and shoot for 28. So we're going to go ahead and lower it, but it's not going to lower right away. That's actually something I like about this game, is it's got realistic, like, temperature behaviors. It doesn't, like, just snap to the correct temperature. It raises and lowers, which is really realistic and really fun. So between 40 and 60, a good middle point is going to be 50, so we're going to go ahead and lower that to 50 degrees. 50% humidity, my bad. And we're also going to go here into windows. Now, something really fun you can do in Planet Zoo is you can actually close some of the windows and replace them with a 3D facade. Now, if you pay attention, you can actually catch exhibit animals up on their facades. So I always like to... Oh, not that one. I always like to turn on their windows and put out the facades, so then you can catch them. And like in a real zoo with a real animal, that would be super good enrichment. And oh, the last thing, we're going to go ahead and change this education board to be the Western Diamondback. Alright, so let's go ahead and pop on over here to our Eastern Brown Snake. See our brown snake. He's using one of his basking rocks. Oh, look at him. Oh, they're so cute. The textures on some of the thing have to be lowered because my computer is like, no, you're going to make me run OBS and Planet Zoo? No thanks. I don't want to. And so then it becomes kind of a battle to keep it up. So we're going to go ahead and lower this to 25 because it's between 23 and 29. And the humidity is in the right range, so it is. Yep, 60 to 85. And then we're going to go ahead and close all but window 2. Window 2 being the one facing forward for some reason. And go ahead and put up their 3D facades as well, because again, you know, we might catch them sitting up there. That's actually something really fun about Planet Zoo, is the animals have a lot of really natural and just fun behaviors to observe, and I really love it. That's why I really like this game, because it feels very engaging and fun. Now, for the iguana, we're actually going to go ahead and leave all the windows open for the time being. Well, no, actually, I think I'm going to close these back too. But basically, patrons can actually approach this one from 2 sides, so we're going to go ahead and close just the back... Oh, wrong one. Wrong one again. There we go, the back 2 windows. Get those taken care of, and then we're going to go and climate. Oh yeah, this is way too hot. So between 26 and 31, we're going to go ahead with 29. 28. 28 works too. Between 50 and 60, okay, 55. We're going to go ahead and put out a layout as well. Let's see. Excuse me. And this is the green iguana, yes? Alright, so we have... Oh, we gotta take care of our educational boards. Can't forget those. Alright, so we are open for business. Now, this is just telling us about our temperature ranges, but they are in the process of working out, so it'll be good. And our first guest. So right now we're gonna go ahead and save up some money in order to afford... Oh, I know I'm low on cash, don't worry. So yeah, we are kind of low on cash right now, so instead of like going out and pushing forward, I'm actually going to sit here and save up some cash really quick. The maintenance cost of exhibit animals is a lot lower compared to habitat animals, so it's actually better to start with exhibit animals, high appeal exhibit animals, to draw guests into the zoo, and then they can, you know, make donations, and then you can take that money and invest it into larger things such as like a habitat. That being said, we should probably take a look at what habitat animals we have available to us. And this is where we have to talk about something called conservation credits. Now, the thing about conservation credits is they're how you get some of the rarer and more high tier animals. For example, let's go ahead and just go for the most appealing animal here. Like this albino West African lion. Now, it's worth pointing out, like, you can't even get a West African lion without spending conservation credits. But even then, if you want to get this albino African lion, you're going to have to shell out 5,100. Now, you can get these a lot of ways. You can log in every day, say hello to VIP guests, and the other thing you can do is you can actually breed animals and release them into the wild. Now, obviously, you can't just like breed a bunch of kangaroos. There are a couple things you can do. First off, is there is a community challenge thing where if you make a specific breed or make something specific happen, you can get things there. But the more reliable way to get conservation credits is actually like, so let's go and say we get like these chimpanzees, right? Let's say we get a healthy group of chimpanzees going. What we can then do is we can release them into the wild. Now, you see they're critically endangered here. If we go ahead and actually release chimpanzees into the wild, we get a lot of conservation credits, a lot more than you would get, like, by, say, releasing... here, let's just show something cash listing. Like, we get more than by releasing, like, timber wolves. We get some for releasing timber wolves, like, you never release anything for nothing. But the more endangered an animal is, the more valuable their young are when released to the wild. And then it becomes an interesting game of when you breed a child... when you breed a cub or whatever, is it worth it to hold on to for a future project, or is it better to release it into the wild for those conservation credits? Let's play Can We Find the Animal? So this is the rattlesnake. Let's see where the rattlesnake is hiding. Oh, look, there's the rattlesnake. Oh, he's tail buzzing. He's pretty relaxed right now. And of course our brown snake is still just sitting here chilling. Doing a little head twitch, sneaking around. Now let's see what our little iguana buddy's up to. Oh, he's right up here by the glass. Hi, buddy! How you doing, buddy? Oh, you're a cute boy, aren't you? Wow, we already have $6,000. We can probably get another exhibit, or we can maybe put in some guest buildings. But I think I'd rather actually put the money towards getting set up for our new habitat. So we're going to go ahead and open up paths again, and we're going to extend the path like so. And I think we're going to go ahead with some very reliable, very nice animals that I've worked with before here at the zoo. I'm going to go ahead and close this off. Because then what you can do is you can make, like, cute little, like, gardens and stuff. I like working on a grid because it makes it so much easier to keep the zoo organized and nice looking. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put that there. I'm going to leave that there. And let's go ahead and see, can we get... So I'm going to go ahead and search species. I'm going to go ahead and go down and look for Indian peafowl because these are super popular and they work super well. We can. I wonder how many are available for cash. Okay, females only, so we might have to splurge out a little bit to get some males, but I think Indian peafowl would be a great place to start because their care requirements are super easy and they're hugely appealing, especially because what you can do is you can actually create an enclosure that guests can walk into, and guests love this. Because what you do is you just build their enclosure as normal, but then you put something called a guest gate in the wall. So I'm going to go ahead and actually start building out the wall that will eventually become our habitat there. So what I like to do is I just go over and I favorited this nice cheap stone wall. And what I do is I actually go in and I kind of line it up with where I want the exhibit to be, and I start building it out. Now, I do this for a couple of reasons. Like, I can't just replace it with the habitat wall, but I do like my habitats to be nice and, nice and straight, and they look a lot better. And it's a lot easier to use space in your zoo if all of the habitats are in nice square pens. So what I'm going to do is like that, and then what I think I'm going to do then, the other thing I like to do is I like to make a little back area, because animals need to have a place to go if they get stressed, and it's very difficult to make sure that they have enough room in a habitat if the guests are in the habitat with them. So what I do is I actually create a little back area, and this will actually be where their bedding goes, their hard shelter goes, because they also have to have a requirement for hard shelter. I actually think I'm going to extend this a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and make this like one wider and one longer. All right, so this will be where our Indian peafowl exhibit goes, and that looks really nice to me. This is going to turn out. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some pricing. The hedges are fine for the peafowl. They just have to be a little long, like a little tall, so they can't fly over them. Because again, the peafowl, being that they are safe for guests to go into, they're also not super dangerous, I'm actually going to take a break here, save up a little money so I don't bankrupt myself trying to build this, and we will be right back.